his face, and I looked at the moon, and I looked at his face, and I looked at the moon, and I looked at his face, and I looked at the moon.
Han Meditations.
Hello guys, I am Han, this is Kelly.
Hi everybody.
We are Han Meditations. We're back with another interesting video. So find somewhere comfortable to sit and watch, and let's get right into it together.
Describe him to me. And Muslims, look at the description of your Rasul. And for some, this would be the first time you hear what your Prophet looked like. I saw a man of striking appearance. ظاهر الوضاء أبلج الوجه, radiant face, حسن الخلق, beautifully created. لم تعبه الثجلة, his belly wasn't protruding. ولم تزر به السعلة, nor was his head disproportionate and small. وسيم قسيم, proportionate and delicate, finely made, a specimen of a creation. في عينيه دعج, in his eyes there was a contrast. The dark was immensely dark, the white was excessively white. وفي أشفاره وطف, and his eyelashes were long. وفي صوته صهل, and in his voice was a natural echo. وفي عنقه سطع, and his neck was elegantly long. وفي لحيته كثاثة, his beard was full and thick. أزج أقرن, his eyebrows were arched, but they were not joint, it was separated. In صمت فعليه الوقار, when he was silent, dignity covered him. وإن تكلم سماه وعلاه البهاء, and when he spoke it was audible and clear, almost commanding and overtaking. أجمل الناس وأبهاهم من بعيد, from afar the most striking and outstanding in appearance. وأحسنهم وأجملهم من قريب, and when he came near, the best of them and the most handsome of them in closeness. حلو المنطق, such an exalted and sweet level of logic. Like when he used to speak, it was so coherently logical, it was smooth and easy to understand. فصل لا نزر ولا هذر, he was to the point, not excessive nor too short. كأن منطقه خرزات نظم يتحدرن, his logic, his utterances, his words were like jewels coming out of a necklace, calculated, polished, one after the other, it would flow magically. ربعة, he was medium in height. Your eye didn't have to strain to look up at him, nor was it tedious to look down at him. He was a comfortable sight to look at. له رفقاء يحفون به, he had friends, the people that were with him, they were working around him to try to serve and protect him. إن قال سمعوا لقوله, when he used to say something, they used to hearken to what he used to say. وإن أمر تبادروا إلى أمره, when he commanded, they used to compete to fulfill the command. This is Muhammad Rasulullah. This is Muhammad Rasulullah. Anas ibn Malik says, he says, I came out one night, it was the full moon night. And I looked at the moon, and in the desert, understand, the moon is an awesome sight. It is smooth, it is radiant, it is clear, it is gentle compared to the scorching sun at which they are used to. So the moon was the epitome of beauty. So he says, I came out at a full moon night and I looked at the moon and I saw it beautiful, handsome. So I said, let me go see if the moon is more handsome or my Prophet is more handsome. Let me see if that is more beautiful or the Prophet is more beautiful. So I went and I saw him standing afar. So I looked at his face and I looked at the moon, and I looked at his face, and I looked at the moon, and I looked at his face, and I looked at the moon, and he said, Wallahi, he was more handsome than the moon in its entirety. That is just the look of your Rasul. Aisha radiyallahu anha says, I was sewing with the needle. My needle dropped in the dark. I couldn't find it. I said, Ya Rasul, I can't find it. He moved his face close, and I swear, out of the radiance of his face, I found my needle. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mind-bogglingly handsome. But his handsomeness was covered with waqar and jalal and hayba. The Sahaba say, when we used to sit at his feet, two feelings conflicting would come on the heart. The first one, you wanted to look at him. You wanted to behold the majesty of his face. And when you wanted to look up, shyness used to overtake you, so you used to look down. Amr ibn al-As says, I sat with him many times, but if you ask me to describe his face, I can't describe it. I wouldn't be able to look up to him ijlalan wa ta'zeeman. I couldn't look up at him. And that is why he didn't have the problems that Yusuf alayhi salam had. Because it was difficult to penetrate the awe and the splendor of the Rasul.
Whoa. Like, we just found out what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, looks like. I don't know if that, I don't know if that was necessarily allowed. I mean, we did do some videos talking about it a little bit, but to that extent, that is phenomenal.
Well, this is it. I don't know. Is this from the Quran, or it has to be at least a hadith, right? Mm-hmm. So, is this how it's described in the Quran? I wish we should have found that out before we started watching. But at least you can tell us
different people's descriptions.
Okay, so these are true descriptions. That's our first time hearing that, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, we heard some of that before.
Yeah,
but like to that extent, long eyelashes, and I really like how it said the things that he said are logical and coherent, like they're just flowing out, like they're being channeled out, from a higher power. Like I like that information, and it's so nice to hear that and see that, because people need to know, and that guy, the way he was describing it was so beautiful. Like, I hope people talk about me in this light whenever I'm gone. You know what I mean? Because this is so beautiful to hear him describe it and talk about it. And I just really like that. And I like that, it's nothing too crazy. Like he's saying, like he had, long eyelashes. His eyes were dark, but very white. There was a contrast between that. He was of medium height. You didn't have to look up to him. You didn't have to look down upon him. It's not like they're, because if you let anybody tell it, they're going to be telling you, hey, man, when I go tell them I was, 6'8", 250, jacked. Let them know I had this, I was that, So it just seemed, everything was like, it seemed definitely believable. So what'd you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting how it kept saying that he had essentially just kind of like a striking appearance, a radiant face or whatever that just kind of like drawn you in and makes you want to look. And it wasn't like, it seemed like it was almost kind of more like an energy and an aura, you know what I mean? Instead of fully just based on physical. And I really think that when you are very, very close to God, that there really is a presence that comes about you, that you are more radiant. There's something in your eyes, and you're so close to God, and it's such a beautiful thing that it's just your aura and being is more beautiful and radiant just to be around and to look upon, And I know there's several things that described Jesus, Isa, in the same way, where, you look in his eyes and there's just a glow, and there's just a presence about him where it's just, for lack of better words, almost just like a beautifulness in a man, though, of course, but just a beauty. And it really comes down to the energy of being close to God, that really is powerful, and it speaks volumes within our being. So that was really, really cool that we finally got to hear this quite a full description for the first time.
Yeah, it really is interesting. So let us know what you guys think. And if you have any more recommendations, thank you for liking the video, commenting, subscribing, and thank you for sharing the video. And let us know if you have anything else to share. And definitely thank you to everybody that donates to the channel. We appreciate it. We need it more than you realize. We love you guys so much. And we'll see you in the next video.